Hello. We are diving further into the prophetic material in Kings today. We are nearing the end of our Elisha cycle and the Elijah and the Elisha cycle together. Some of the prophetic themes that we see in those texts are going to culminate in the next couple of chapters. They'll push forward, and we'll see them revisited throughout the rest of Kings. But in any event, we're on our last week of dealing with Elijah and Elisha. So this is one of my favorite stories here in all of the Bible, really. 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 8 through 23. This is really a fantastic bit of material. There's the really famous story of the axe head that comes before this, and then there's the other very famous story of the siege and the leprous people who escape during the siege. All great stuff, but this is the one I chose for today. But just to say that some of these themes relate to some of the texts around them as well. So 2 Kings 6, verse 8, I'm going to point out a couple of things here. I know I didn't ask you to translate this. Nevertheless, it might help to have some of this, in your mind as you read the rest of the story. So it starts with U Melech Aram, right? So that is now, or and of course, but the subject comes first and not the verb. So this is a disjunctive. So this is a completely different story. It actually inserts itself really fairly randomly into the material, and we'll come to see at the end of the story that there's some ambiguity there as well. But Umelech Aram, so now the king of Aram, or now once the king of Aram, once upon a time, king of Aram, Haya Nilcham, he was, and then Nilcham. This comes from lacham, which is to war, to wage war, like milchama is a battle. Nilcham, this is here the nifal participle, battling with Israel. So he wants to do battle, but the thing we see actually is that that there is no battle that takes place, and this is part because of the frustrations produced by Elisha. He takes counsel here. Vayivaat, this is from Atzah, to take counsel. This is or ya'atz, to take counsel. This is a first yod here that turns into a vav here. So he takes counsel with his servants, and this would be in the generals or something. And he has kind of his counsel, and he's saying, Lemor, el makom, poloni almoni. And at, like, to a place, Palmoni almoni, that doesn't mean anything. It means such and such, or nonsense. It's two ridiculous words, kind of like tohu vohu, that end up just meaning kind of at such and such a place, at Poloni almoni, and then tachanoti, that's I will camp, and so then the man of God, Ish ha Elohim, he shalachs el Melech Yisrael, to the king of Israel, Lamor. And now notice that, like, nobody's name is spelled out here. It's all very vague titles. Lamor, Hishamer, watch yourself. This is a nifal imperative. I know that it looks like a hifal here, but remember we got our nifal triangle here, and a nifal triangle with a hey on front of it. This only happens in the nifal imperatives and infinitives. But it is a strange thing that nifal infinitives and imperatives can have this heh beginning. But they will still have, it looks like a hifal, but it has the triangle, that dreaded nifal triangle there. So watch yourself. Show me what you're working with. Anyway, may avor, that you, like, from passing, keep yourself from passing, or watch yourself that you don't pass, or something like this. Hamakom hazet, to that place, whatever place they're talking about, Palmoni almoni. So apparently this happens a lot. So that Elisha keeps stopping the lacham from happening, the battle, the war, right? He's frustrating the desire for conflict and fighting. Kisham aram nachitim. So the Syrians, because they're the Syrians, are going down. They're proceeding. So this is a nachat is here as the root. So then the king of Israel, shalachs, here's another use of shalach. The king of Israel sends to Hamakom, to that place, Asher Amar Lo, which he told him about, Ish HaElohim, which the man of God had told him about, his hero, that he warned him. This is a hifal verb here. Here's the kativ kare. This is the kare, his hero. And then Vanishmar, and so he kind of watched, right, or watched himself there, Sham. Lo achat velo shatayim. not once and not twice. That is lots of times. So this kind of thing has been happening for a long time when we pick up the story. Finally, after this all happens, we have a sa'ar, that is a raging tempest or a whirlwind, but it's the Lave Melech Aram, the heart or mind of the king of Aram is all enraged by this frustration, right? Al hadavar hazeh, because of this thing or this word, right? This prophetic activity. And so then he says, basically, who's in charge of this? Who's doing this stuff, right? Is it one of you guys? So one of you has to be for the king of Israel, right? I want to point this word out here, mi shalanu, which is really an Aramaism from like the particle asher can be shortened to sh. That happens in Aramaic. It's actually a different word. It comes from a different original root, whatever. But I'll say this is the relative particle in Aramaic, this sh here. So from who to us. So this is not good Hebrew. This is a foreign way of speaking. And of course, it makes sense that the Arameans would be speaking in Aramaic kind of dialect here, right? This happens in Jonah too, where the foreign sailors speak in a foreign dialect. So that's why some of this is a little bit hard to read when foreigners speak in the book of Kings, but also elsewhere in the Bible sometimes. El Melech Yisrael. So who from which is to us is to the king of Israel. So who belongs to the king of Israel, who presumably is part of us. So he thinks that there's got to be a rat and it's got to be one of us, right? And one of his servants, and here we go in verse 12, it said one of his servants, Lo Adoni, none my king, no one my king, not my king. That's not true. Hamelech, ki my Lord my king, right? Ki Elisha, for it is Elisha. Hanavi, the prophet. Asher Yisrael, the prophet who is in Israel. We've heard this a lot. The prophet who is in, there is no prophet in Israel. There is a prophet in Israel. But it seems that the uniqueness is lifted up just like it was in the Elijah stories of his ministry. Yagid is reporting, or this is that Hiffel form from Nagad, right? He's reporting to the king of Israel. It's kind of a proper way to speak. Et ha-davarim asher tedaber, the words which are said, or which you are saying, actually. Here's the tav here for second person, which you are speaking. It's a PL verb, by the way. Got your schwa underneath your performative. B'hadar, in your chamber, basically, in your room. Mishkavecha. The mishkav, that's your bed. In the room of your bed. In your bedroom, your secret place, right? So he knows exactly what you're saying no matter where you say it. Wow, this kind of knowledge, right? Knowledge, sight, insight, all those are big themes here in this story. And so then they find out that he's in Dothan, in this little tiny town, or it's not too tiny, but he's in a small place in the hill country, and he can be surrounded, right? So then the king sends, and he shalaks here again, sends all these horses and chariots, and they surround the city at night. And so then when we pick up the story, it's this surrounded city, right, that the king is picking up on. So Vayash came, M'sharet ish ha'elohim, Lakum vayetse vahine chayil sovev et ha'ir vasus v'rachev. Here's the Athnak. I'll stop there. So, and he got up early. This is a Hiffel. We have our A-class vowel in our performative. We're missing that kind of, don't worry about it. But here we got our short A-class vowel underneath the performative that's telling us it's a Hiffel. But also if you look up Shakav, happening in the Hiffel here, he rose up early. Who? The Mashret, the minister, Masharet. This is a servant, someone who's ministering to someone. So the priests, they sharat in the temple, they serve in the temple. Here is a servant. It's a different word from Eved, but there's some overlaps here. But it's a PL. Forms a PL participle here. So the one who is ministering, Ish ha-Elohim, to the man of God. Lakum, to get up. So when he woke up early to get up, va-yetse, and he went out. Here's our vav consecutive. Vahide, and look, chayil, which can mean a lot of different things, but here is probably like the valorous army, right? The strength, the power. Sovev, surrounding, like an army surrounding, et ha'ir, the city, our direct object, marker, ha, the definite article, and then ir, the city. Vasus, and horse. Rachev, and chariotry. So this is like it's a common noun here. It's suggesting a plural even if it's individual. So horse and chariotry. So again, all this military technology that Israel doesn't often have being deployed here against this one little guy in a little town. And then Vayomer na'aro elav aha o adoni echa na'aseh. So go back up to here to after the Athnak. Vayomer na'aro, and his young lad, or this is often translated servant, right? As we said, na'ar doesn't necessarily mean a young, it doesn't have to be someone who's really young. It can be a 20-year-old, but someone who's not quite fully on their own yet, or who's being apprenticed to someone else. So his apprentice said, elav to him, aha, aha, which often is this kind of like a very negative interjection here. So he's fearful for his life. Alas, oh no, Adoni, oh no, my lord. Echa, how? Like this, right? This is the first word of Lamentations, by the way. Echa, one of the Jewish traditions of naming these books. The book of Lamentations is called Echa. And then Na'aseh, how will we do? Like, what are we going to do? So this is the new, not meaning a nifal, but this is just a call imperfect, our strange form of the vowel. That should be like a hiffle vowel underneath our performative. But remember, this is a first ayin, so it's going to force its A-class vowel onto the letter before it, onto the prefix. So what are we going to do? Vayomer not El, that would be two. This is Vayomer al Tira. And this is a famous saying here. Here's the Athnak, al Tira. So remember, there's two ways to say no. There's lo, not, don't, right, or whatever. But if you are giving a negative command, lo means never, ever, ever. So in the Ten Commandments, don't kill. That's with lo, right? So never do that. Never murder. But al is a way of saying no that means not now. So it's okay to be scared sometimes, but it's not okay in this case. In this case, you shouldn't be scared. That's the message of the prophet here. Al tira, and so this is Elisha's response. It's a bit unclear, right, from the context here, but yeah, Vayomer al tira, do not be afraid. And when you hear this form, this is from Yara, by the way, to be afraid, the tav prefix and the hirek underneath it, telling us it's a call imperfect, second person, masculine singular. So do not be afraid. This is the beginning of oracles of salvation in the Old Testament. So do not be afraid. Ki, so good news is coming, because Rabim Asher Itanu. Rabim Asher Itanu. So there are many which are with us. Now remember, this et can be the marker of the direct object. If you see this et and it has a holum over top of the first letter and then it has an object suffix added to it, you're looking at an object. If it has an I class vowel underneath it, a hirek, you're looking at with. So with us. So do not be afraid, many which are with us. And then we have this min here. This is a comparative min, which has been shoved onto our particle here, asher, our relative particle. So from which are, and then here's our object, them. So this is a complex bit of syntax here, but many which are with us, from which, or with, in a way, them. And so this is here a comparative min. So then you go back to this adjective, and that comes before the comparative min, and that becomes like more than, or better than, or greater than, or whatever your adjective is. But here it's many, so it's about a volume or a number. So here it's more. There are more with us than there are them. So that's how that works. So there's more with us than them. Of course, that doesn't make any sense, right? And then Vayit Palel Elisha, and this word here is from palal, which means to pray. It's a hit pael form. yit here. That's the imperfect form of a hitpael. This verb pray is often in this form, this hitpael form, and it just means to pray in this form. But it's something that's intensive and it might be reflexive and so on. But anyway, so he prays. So Elisha prayed, Vayomer, and he said, Adonai, or Yahweh. Here's the address, and then Pakach na. Now we know we've got what's coming before it, some expression of will. We have a short vowel underneath our first letter of our root, Pakach. Pakach means to open. The short vowel there tells us that it is a imperative, so open. Et einav, his eyes. Vayir'eh, vayifkach. Adonai. Et Einei hana'ar. I'll stop there because of the Zakif Katon. I kind of ran right over the Athmak there, but I think it all makes sense to kind of put this part together. But anyway, open his eyes and he will see. Now you can think of this in the Jussive form, let him see, right? So we have our chain of verbs. We have a verb here. This is in the imperative form, and then we have a vav, and then we have an imperfect. This is going to be continuing that chain of imperative commands. So open, so that he may see, or you can see, kind of think of this in terms of consequence, that he may see. And then vayivkach, Yahweh, as I said, and Yahweh opened the eyes of the young man. So Yahweh responds, right? There's that immediate duality, right? That Elisha says this and Yahweh immediately does it, and using the same verb communicates that there was some sort of kind of obedience really to this. That is, remember, the man of God, the Ish Elohim, and Yahweh are linked in this very precise way. So Vayar v'hine hahar ma'le susim v'rechev eish savivot Elisha. And here's our suluk at the end there. So, and he looked, and hine, behold, the mountain, and then mala is a verb that means to be full, stative verb. So here it is just in the call perfect. Those stative verbs in the call perfect often have a tsere under the second radical. So male, to be full. And the mountain was full. Susim, horses, and chariot of fire. This is in construct here, chariot of fire. Savivot, surrounding or all around. This is an adverb here, all around Elisha, all around Elisha. So this interplay between sight and seeing, and the guy did see, which is why he was scared, but then he wasn't seeing correctly or something. And then Vayerdu elav vayit palel Elisha el Adonai, or Yahweh. Vayomer. So, and they came down, Yarad, Elav, to him, and Elisha prayed. So the enemy army begins to ride down the mountain or up the mountain. Actually thinking about the geography of this, exactly what's happening in the story is a bit confusing depending on the way that we construe some of these words. But in any event, so the Syrians are pursuing them, and Elisha prays to Yahweh, and he said, "Ha, nah." Now, remember when I said if you ever see this kind of just a cough kind of hanging out there, you don't know what to do with it, especially if it's preceded by a hey. This is the verb nakah. It's noon, kaf, hey. The hey is the third hey is weak, and the noon is weak. So we have just the kaf that shows up sometimes, and so this is the hiffle. So this word means to smite or strike down or kill. Strike, nah, please, strike. This is a expression of will here. So Elisha commands, strike at ha-goy, hazeh, this people, this nation, this goy, right? And so you might think like strike, like kill. That's this word almost always means. But in any event, but sanverim. It's translated blindness in the NRSV. I'm going to let you look this up because this is not exactly what this word means. It's only used a couple of times in the Old Testament, but the other time there's some suggestions, there's some contextual evidence that will let you to see that this is not about what we think of as the disability blindness in conventional modern American society. This is very different. So teasing this out might be an interesting thing to do for your contextual part of the of your work this week. Vaya came, and he struck them. This is Yahweh, right? So, and Yahweh struck, this is again naka, them, the meme. This is an object suffix added to the verb. And Yahweh struck them, basanvarim, with whatever that is that Elisha asked them to be struck with. Kadavar Elisha. Interesting here, right? Because Kadavar Adonai is what you usually hear. But Kadavar Elisha is what you see happening in this text. Woo! All right. And then Vayomer Alehem Elisha lo ze hadavar, haderech v'lo zo ha'ir lechu acharei v'olika etchem. I'll stop there. This is the second Zakaton that I've kind of run through, but I think it all sticks together. But anyway, and he said to them, Elijah, so Elijah says to them, that is to the soldiers in the army, who he's just struck with Sanvarim, whatever that is, or Yahweh has just struck because Elijah, according to the word of Elijah, Lo ze haderech. Not this is the way. So this is not the way. And think of all the metaphorical uses of derek and way, but also the way that it fits in its non-metaphorical sense, its literal sense here as well. So it's smart. Velo zo ha'ir, and this is not the city. Now think about that for a second. What city do they really want to get? This is the interesting question here. This is not the city. Dothan's not the city that they actually want. No, it is. Dothan's what they're trying to kill Elijah, right? So in any event, this you might want to play with that for a minute. But lechu acharei, and then this is the command here from halak. It's got the u because it's plural for all that army. So go after me. Acharai. V'olika, and then here we have, I mean, this is, if we were in class, I'd ask you to kind of try to tear this apart here, but I'll just parse it for you here. It's a hiphil imperfect, first common singular, and it's got this cohortative ending here. And so basically, like, let me cause you to go, right? Etchem. Follow me, and I will cause you to go. Let me cause you to go. So I will bring you, maybe is the way the NRSV translates it, but I mean, there's all sorts of really interesting kind of subtleties to this meaning. I will, let me cause you to go. El ha'ir. Sorry, ha'ish, not ir. Ir would be the city. To the person. Asher, which tavakeshun. The one that you, this noon here is paragogic noon. I mean, they just add a noon sometimes to be fancy to the end of verbs. Don't worry about that. Your real ending here is the u, which is plural, right? And you have the t on the beginning here. Look at your vowel underneath that. That's your PL form here. And bakash is your verb here. Bakash, to seek. I will take you to the ish, the man that you seek. Of course, the one they're seeking is Elisha, right? But what else might they mean? So, v'yolech, and he went. But also take a close look at this verb. This isn't just he went. This is yolech, just like olicha is the form for the hiphil for halach, that first hey that acts like a first yod. In the hiphil, first yods. Remember, there's two different kinds of yod verbs, sorry. But again, these are first yod vav verbs, the ones that are really actually old vav verbs. And then there's the actual first yod ones, like yatav, to be good, which is an actual first yod. Those will take this really long E class vowels underneath the performative. Here, for a first vav yod verb, they actually just take a longer, they take a holum vav. So this long O. Here, that is just a holum. So yolech, this is the actually hiphil. This is a hiphil, vav consecutive, a third masculine singular. Yolech, and he made go them. This is the object, otam, made them go, or led them. Shomronah, Samaria words. This is the directive or locative, hey. All right, so he took them to Samaria, to the place that they're actually seeking, even though that's not what they're actually seeking, right? So, in any event, Vayhi, Voam Shomron, and it happened as, or like, at the time, going them. This is the infinitive construct for bow. This middle weak infinitive constructs. Take this just bow, just the what you think of as a typical form. It could be spelled with the middle shurek, but here it's just spelled with a holem. Holem vav would have been what it's been spelled with if it's spelled fully. But kavoam, as going them, as they were going, Shomron, to Samaria. So as they were, and bo can often mean like kind of coming into, entering. So as they were entering Samaria, coming into the gates, Vayomer Elisha said, Yahweh, pekach et ene ela. And this is what he had said in a way, in a slightly different way, about the young man who was surprised, right? Maybe Gehazi, we don't know. His name's not Gehazi in this story, but in any event, open these eyes. Open the eyes of these people. Vayir'u, so that they may see. Vayifkach Adonai et einehem vayir'u v'hine b'toch Shomron. So he said, and Yahweh, this is the narrator saying, and Yahweh opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, the same structure as the sentence about the young man. Batoch, in the midst of Shomron, they were in the midst of Samaria. This is a good thing for them and a bad thing. They've been trying to get into Samaria the whole time, but now, of course, they are sitting ducks. So, Vayomer Melech Yisrael El Elisha. What's the king's response here? Well, his response is Kiroto, when he saw them, as he saw them, Otam, them. This is the object. This is the et object form. So them, as he saw them. Ha ake avi. This is a question mark, hey? The upside down question mark, right? Ha ake. And here's our naka again, strike. We've heard a lot about striking and killing so far. Here's that reappearance again in the mouth of the king of Israel. Ake, I kill. Can I kill? I kill. That repetition's interesting. Avi, my father. And the use of father here is interesting too. So, can I kill them? Can I kill them, my father? Vayomer lo, take. You shall not strike. And then here's a question mark, hey again. Ha asher shavita b'charbcha u v'kashtecha. So I'll translate that so far here. Ha-asher, so question mark, and then which, what, there, this is a relative a particle, so it can be kind of whatever you need, the utility infielder particle here. So whatever, shavita, you have captured. So is it what you have captured? B'charbacha, with your cherev, your sword. Uva kashtecha, or with your keshet, your bow. Did you capture these things with your bow and your sword? Ata, you makeh, you are smiting. Are you going to smite the things that you caught with your bow and your sword? In other words, you didn't do these things. This is a hifel participle, by the way. This is again for that nakach, that verb that just reduces to its kaf, the central root letter for most of its appearances. And here we have the main, the participle beginning, and the hifel, the A-class vowel, short A-class vowel, the patak, underneath that performative. And then sim, lechem, u v'mayim, lifnehem. So set, and this is a middle week, so like there's nothing that tells you that this is the form. You just kind of have to understand it. Seem is a form that will show up in all. I mean, it's like these like bow, these middle weak verbs, or cum. This is the form that will. This is the dictionary form. It's called perfect third masculine singular. This is also pretty similar to what you'd find in the imperative form. So this is this is the imperative form right here. So seem, put or set, lechem, bread, v'mayim, and water, lifnehem, before them. V'yochlu, so that they may eat and drink. Right? We have our chain of verbs. We have our imperative, followed by a vav, followed by an imperfect. So this is like so that they may eat, v'yishtu, and they may drink. This kind of banquet, right? That they may have a big party. V'yelchu, and that they may go, el adonehem, to their master. So here's the conclusion here. Vayikre lahem kera gadola vayochlu vayishtalu. Sorry, vayishtu. And then vayishalachem. This is from shalach, right? Remember that? We read that verb a couple of times earlier. Vayelchu, and they went. That verb has occurred a lot in this passage too. El adonehem. So over here, so he, this is the king of Israel. Here's the subject. He prepared a feast, or gave a feast. This is what that verb means, really. Kara. One of the several potential meanings of that root. You can look at the other meanings of the root and see what you think, but yeah, prepared to them, for them. Kera, a feast. Gadolah, a big feast, a great feast. That's our adjective, right? Our attributive adjective. And then, and they ate. This is from achal. And they drank or banqueted. And shalchem, and he sent them. Here's a PL. Notice our schwa underneath there, our doubling of the middle radical, and he sent them. Via shalchem. Vayelchu, and they went. El adonehem, to their master, which is what we read about in the previous verse. Velo yaspu, or yasfu, od gedude aram labo be'eretz Yisrael, and not again, still, and like never again, gedude, and that's gedud is like a wandering band, like a marauding, like the marauders of Aram, to enter into the land of Israel. And then here's our Petumah, so big stop there. Okay, that's there's plenty of things to talk about and plenty of things to interpret here, and we'll talk a little bit about lacham and lechem in the comments today. All right, thank you, and we'll be back next time for